Sir, very valuable suggestions have been made both in regard to the housing policy of the Government of India and also in regard to prefabricated housing in the context of this Hindustan Hindu housing factory. Sir, I would like to say a few words about the housing policy of the Government of India because many members have touched upon it. Sir, we undertake housing in two particular ways. One is social housing that we undertake through our state governments, and the other is contact housing, which is undertaken by the Ministry of Housing through the Central Public Works Department. As far as social housing is concerned, I fully agree with Shri Sabru that housing occupies a very important place in our society. Food, clothing, and shelter, we have always been proclaiming that they are the three tenets of our socialist pattern of society. And I do admit that as far as social housing is concerned, it has not received the some attention as it should have received in our plans. I am not blaming the planners. After all, they have to take the finances of the country into consideration. They have also to take the state resources into consideration. But, sir, it is a fact that while the population of the country has been growing and growing very fast during the last 10 years, there was a rise of over 21%, but in that period, the allocation under housing was brought down from 34% to the 15% under the 10th plan. That has been our misfortune. And sir, the states too of the fact that the allocations have been lowered have also not been very active or enthusiastic about the housing programs. There have been lapses, and some of the houses which were built for the industrial workers have been allotted to non entitled persons. And when the emergency started, even the allocations made for housing in the state plans have been diverted to other projects. They are good projects, important projects, but if we concede that housing gives a man a certain amount of satisfaction, security of life, a home, housing has to receive some priority, if not a very high priority. I have taken this up with the finance minister and the planning minister. I have also been to the Life Insurance Corporation. The Life Insurance Corporation has been very helpful. Now, sir, I come for a short while to the housing which is undertaken directly by my ministry. A reference has been made to Delhi. A reference has been made to the unfortunate conditions under which government servants have to live, and the last speaker very rightly remarked that the rents in Delhi are on a very high side. I have to accept all those premises. Since I took charge of this ministry, it is nearly a year ago now. I fully examined the problem from all its aspects. I find, sir, that previously we have been more concerned with paying house rents allowances to our government servants. We have been taking property on lease. We have been requisitioning properties, sometimes paying very heavy rents and at the same time maintaining those properties which belonged to other people. If all the money that has been paid as rent or as house rent allowances has been diverted to the construction of houses, I am sure that the housing difficulties in Delhi and other parts of the country like Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta would not have been so acute. It is a fact that the government servants who has a house has a different outlook. He works in a different way, but nearly 66% of the government servants in Delhi have to take houses on high rents, have to pay very heavy rents, and sometimes they have to live very far away from Delhi. During this year, we have sanctioned housing schemes to the tune of Rs 15 crores. In the last 5 years in this ministry, schemes were sanctioned only to the extent of Rs 7 crores. I am not casting any aspersions. What I am trying to say is this, that I have doubled the program of housing within 1 year as compared to what was done during the last 5 years. I hope that we should be able to within next few years to give a certain amount of satisfaction to the government servants who have to work under very difficult conditions in Delhi. It is not a very happy position in which I am when I am told by the government servants who come to see me that every minister has a house, every member of parliament more or less has been provided with some sort of accommodation. Members of the Planning Commission, judges of the Supreme Court, senior officers, every one of them has a house and that too very near to the place of work. But as far as the poor government servants are concerned, most of them have no accommodation. Sir, the University Grants Commission has already started making its impact on the universities, and the House will bear with me that the Commission has before it the most difficult task of reconstructing and rehabilitating our universities, and I think I am expressing a general opinion of the House when I express my feelings of gratitude to the chairman as well as to the members of the Commission. Sir, the Commission had to face certain difficulties during the year under review. I shall first of all say a few words with regard to these difficulties. The House is aware that the year under review has been a very year of great strain and stress. There was a time when there was acute shortage of steel and cement, and at one time the Ministry of Finance gave a directive that in order to save steel and cement for the essential projects undertaken in connection with the implementation of the core of the plan, no new construction program should be undertaken. As a result of this shortage, unfortunately, the construction program of the universities was hampered. I think it was very unfortunate because just at the time we needed more buildings and accommodation for the universities. But this is a matter which was beyond our control. The situation is easing and it will further ease and thus enable the universities to go ahead with their construction program. Sir, with regard to foreign exchange, the House is aware that there was a shortage in this regard also, and the University Grants Commission had to face special difficulties in obtaining the equipment and apparatus both for the science laboratories and the technological institutions. I am, however, glad to inform the House that we have now been able to secure a special allocation of 20 crores of rupees by way of foreign exchange to meet the requirements of the universities for the period January 2004 to March 2004, and we have also taken steps to make suitable provision for foreign exchange for the period April 2004 to September 2004. We have already indicated this to the University Grants Commission, and I understand that they have informed the universities about the availability of foreign exchange, and I hope that this would now enable the University Grants Commission to go ahead with their plans. They had also to experience difficulties in dealing with the state universities because the latter could not find the matching funds. The grants given by the University Grants Commission are normally on a matching basis, that is, the state governments or the universities have to find their share in order to utilize the grants allotted by the University Grants Commission because they were not able to find the matching funds. We are having discussions with the University Grants Commission to devise some method to resolve this difficulty. If some arrangement could be made by means of which the state governments could make their funds available to the University Grants Commission, it would greatly facilitate in developing the universities. The central government makes the funds available to the University Grants Commission, and if the state governments could also entrust these funds to the University Grants Commission, it would facilitate the development program. In this matter, we have to negotiate with the University Grants Commission and the state governments, and I hope that in the 10th 5-year plan we may be able to solve this difficulty. Sir, the University Grants Commission has suggested that there should be some kind of flexibility in the allocation which is made to them for utilization. The House is aware that the plan allocations available to the various sectors has had to be cut down, as a result of which the allocation made to the University Grants Commission was also reduced from Rs 20 crores to Rs 18 crores for the ninth plan period. The Commission considered this matter in July 2003 and passed a resolution urging that in order to enable them to perform their statutory function for maintaining proper standards in universities, the government should make available to them a total sum of Rs 19 crores during the plan period. I have already communicated our decision to the chairman of the University Grants Commission that we shall divert the remaining fund, that is Rs 37 lakhs, for development purposes. In fact, I have been trying with the Ministry of Finance to secure an additional 1 crore of rupees in addition to Rs 19 crores. The Ministry of Finance have been sympathetic. Though they were not able to make any firm commitment, they have assured me that if the University Grants Commission is able to utilize these amounts, the question will be considered sympathetically in the last year of the plan. I would also like to inform the House that grants were released to the Commission in lump sum allotment and no fund is earmarked by government for any specific schemes.